Hello and welcome to Fresno State for our Technology, Inclusion, and Pedagogy Conference. We are thrilled to have you all here to explore the ethical use of artificial intelligence. We will begin with a land acknowledgement. The Fresno State campus sits in the midst of the San Joaquin Valley, a valley rich in the traditions and representation of the Native American peoples and cultures. We are grateful to be in the traditional homelands of the Yokuts and Mono peoples, whose diverse tribal communities share steward over this land. My name is Brian Barrett. I serve as the director for our Office of Innovation and Digital Excellence for Academic Success, the Office of Ideas. And it's my pleasure to welcome those of you who are here in person on Zoom, as well as those of you who may be watching this as a recording. We are excited to have students, staff, faculty, and administrators gathered from around our Valley school districts, community colleges, our Fresno State campus, the CSU and UC systems, private institutions, and beyond. I'd like to quickly thank our team in the Office of Ideas and Center for Faculty Excellence, the Resnick Student Union, our Office of Institutional Research, our associated students, as well as our Provost, Provost Fu, and our President for making this special event a reality. Lastly, I'd like to thank all of the members of our Fresno State Task Force on the Ethical Use of Artificial Intelligence, including the co-chair, Dr. Brad Hyatt, who have been exploring this topic in various committees formally since fall of 2023. Now, please join me in welcoming our university president to the podium. Dr. Saul Jimenez Sandoval.
Thank you very much, Brian, for that introductory remarks. And it's my true honor to welcome all of you to today's TIP, Technology, Inclusion, and Pedagogy Conference here at Fresno State, where we will talk about the role of AI in our classrooms. Today marks our collective dialogue on the application of AI. In the hands of ethical practitioners, AI presents a future of possibility for all of us. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank Dr. Brian Barrett for everything he's done to make this possible, and of course also the provost and everyone else. There's a whole team behind this conference, so round of applause for them, please. The topic of today's conference will open up a bigger conversation about the future of higher education, the directions of research and industry, and how we will position ourselves to move towards a brighter future with AI. AI left the station already, as Eric, student, told me prior. There he is. Prior to the conference, I absolutely agree with that. So this year's conference theme is especially timely, exploring the ethical use of AI. On the one hand, this suggests some new and unique challenges that we as educators will inevitably face in a learning environment. But those same challenges, if viewed from a different angle, could look like a tremendous opportunity as well. I still remember being a new professor back in 2001 when Wikipedia was born, and I'll try to do an analogy to AI with that. We in the academy were disdainful of this source of information that anyone could access, number one, and number two, that anyone could edit or anyone could write. How dare they? We said, to ourselves in academia, Wikipedia show up with a free encyclopedia when anyone can actually write anything in it. I would explicitly, I remember, tell my students to not consult Wikipedia. And I would tell them, I will know if you did consult Wikipedia. I will hound you down. I have a very strong nose for these things, right? For me, back then in 2001, Wikipedia was the anathema of knowledge and research for those of us who had been educated with real encyclopedias and rigorous peer-reviewed articles. Moving forward to 2024, Wikipedia now forms part of our lives. It is the go-to initial source of all basic factual information. We don't quote it, but we certainly consult it on a daily basis. The same can be said about AI. There is so much we don't know about its impact yet, but we do know that it has the great potential to further knowledge if used ethically. As an institution of higher learning, Fresno State excels in creating an ecosystem of learning that supports, on a very personal level, the intellectual growth of our diverse and talented students. How can AI be leveraged in the classroom to analyze data at higher levels of understanding? How can we use AI to interpret data faster, to solve challenging and pressing issues dealing with water scarcity, storage, and efficiency? Develop new drought-tolerant hybrids, stimulate tests of these hybrids, and streamline our overall ability to innovate. I give these examples because ag is such a powerful driver of the economy in our region, and because we produce 25% of the nation's food. What is more exciting is how this powerful new tool can allow us to grow and innovate across industry, across disciplines, can make us more efficient, more productive, and lead to greater opportunity and prosperity. AI, though, will not, in the near future, that is, replace innovation, creativity, and my own personal sense of what my history is, what my culture is, and how it is that I interact and interface with reality as I see it. This particular point of contact is what gives me my creativity and what gives me the ability to interpret and to put forward creative solutions. So with this then, with that framework, I want to thank you for your vision, for your dedication, and the investment in our collective future in regards to AI. Enjoy the conference and go Dogs. Continuing on, it is my true honor to present our keynote speaker today, Dr. Paul Kim, whom I've had the pleasure of briefly meeting this morning. He flew himself into the region, by the way. He's a pilot. Dr. Kim earned his doctorate from the University of Southern California and is a Chief Technology Officer and Associate Dean at the Stanford Graduate School of Education. Dr. Kim teaches graduate-level courses and leads projects involving the design of learning technologies, educational research, and community development. He's traveled all over the world for this. He has been the advisor for the National Science Foundation Education and Human Resources Directorate and was the advisor of grant challenges in international development for the National Academies of Science, among other very much important positions that he's held. He is the founder and advisor of Seeds of Empowerment, which is a nonprofit global education institute funded by UNESCO since 2006, and is the advisor of Asian Development Bank since 2019. In all of these positions, Dr. Kim has focused on improving access and equity in education throughout the world. So please help me give a warm welcome to Dr. Paul Kim.
Thank you, Mr. President and the Provost and the faculty and students and staff here. I'm very honored to be here in such a vibrant campus here. And as Mr. President said, that I flew in and I was watching the farms and the water channels and everything, and it makes me feel like I'm live in the nature. And then there are a lot of interesting things that can come out of here when I see agriculture industry. There's our smart farming, there's the robotics and drone technology and entrepreneurship and STEM education, and all these things can flourish out of Fresno State. So I'm very, very honored to be here, and thank you for inviting me. Here's my clicker. So I'd like to start with a little bit of my background so that you understand why I'm talking about some of the points here. So I'm not to brag about some of the things that I do at Stanford, but I'm here to connect and explore and collaborate and make a difference together. So here we go. This is one of the initiatives that I launched at at the Graduate School of Education at Stanford. I don't know if any graduate school has this type of a program, but this is an Entrepreneur in Residence program. I launched this about 5 years ago. What I do is I invite entrepreneurs from the industry, the edutech leaders or venture capital leaders to come and put together a course and advise our students and faculty to be more entrepreneurial in the education ecosystem. Another program that I launched is the Digital Learning Design Challenge, which is to give any Stanford students to come up with the EdTech startup ideas. In fact, next week, there's a big presentation by our students who are presenting EdTech entrepreneurship pitch. And we give them initial funding. And then if they do well, in their follow-up stages, then we connect them with the StarX. I don't know if anyone knows about StarX. This is a spin-off from Stanford. This organization has raised about $10 billion in the past 10 years, helping the student startups. I have designed the MOOC a while back. It's called the Designing a New Learning Environment, which invited about 20,000 students from 170 different countries to join this MOOC. I was surprised to see students coming from Lahore, Pakistan, and Zanzibar, Tanzania. I did not know how they were able to find it, but they found it and joined it. It was an amazing experience. In fact, when I was leading that class, I was in Tanzania doing an education project with a smartphone. So I think the internet has done something to the ecosystem in the education space. Currently, this winter quarter, we have a quarter system. So winter quarter, I'm leading this course at the D School, designed to equip learners in under-resourced communities. This is the title of the course. Basically, I connect our students with communities in the developing regions. For example, I worked in Mexico with various indigenous community schools. And so I'm connecting them with our students to work with those communities and come up with the design solutions that would make a difference in their lives. Another example is the Syrian refugee children currently residing in Lebanon. And many of our students are working with communities like these around the world to come up with some design solutions to help them educate and empower. And a few other things I've done. I've traveled to various places. I set up the initial Saudi Arabia's National E-Learning Center, and then also helped the Uruguay government to evaluate the One Laptop Per Child project. So these kind of opportunities help me to widen my horizon and understand what's really happening on the other side of the world in the real context of education. And I serve as a advisor to Udemy, Lumos Capital, Czech, and also I founded a Seeds of Empowerment, which invites our students to travel with me to various parts of the world to engage in various projects. So that kind of gives you the idea where I've been, what I've been doing for the past 23 years at Stanford University. Today, I'll talk about these topics here. AI is the theme today. And then what I will talk about is the productivity leap, what AI will do to our society. The productivity leap will be quite substantial. The efficiency that we can gain from AI implementation in every aspect of our society will be very, very vibrant and very substantial. And demise of a mediocrity, what I mean by that is if you are not really good at something these days, you're not really good at meaning that you have to be the best or you have to be the top of the game. Otherwise, just knowing something, being an expert in some domain, it will be very difficult to compete in the industry. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. And also excessive AI dependency. I think more and more children will be depending on AI and how that will translate into different skill sets in schools and beyond. That is going to be becoming a very serious issue. Imagine a day where all of a sudden your mobile phone is not accessible. You cannot access your bank. You can't make payments. You cannot purchase. You cannot track your orders. I mean, there are so many things you cannot do if your mobile phone disappears. Same thing will happen with AI. If AI disappears one day, or you cannot access it, right now today, I don't have to use AI, but when it becomes prevalent around the world in our society, there will be a day that, what if you do not have access to AI, and how are our children, when they grow up, be able to cope with that kind of situation? Meta AI competency is something that I will also talk about. What I mean by meta AI competency is that by having the children use a variety of different sets of AI tools and solutions, so that they're not depending on one particular AI. For example, ChatGPT. Some children believe that it is correct and it is accurate, and then they believe what ChatGPT is producing. But we want to help children to use a variety of different sets of AI tools and come to their own conclusion, not just depending on one set of AI. Social skill erosion is another topic that will be coming down the pipe. When we talk with AI, we talk differently. When we talk with the human beings, we tend to be nice and kind and patient. When you are talking with AI, you want prompt answers, and you are probably not really caring whether the AI is tired of answering your questions or not, right? And when children are directly asking AI, do this, do that, and give me this, give me that, that sort of the social skill is going to be quite dangerous when you try to apply the same skills to the humans. So we'll have to figure out how do we introduce AI tools for children to communicate really well and leverage AIs and still maintain a high level of social skills. And 6 C's in the age of AI is something that I personally believe in. We all know 4 C's, right? But I added 2 more C's. Those 2 more C's are compassion and commitment. The way that I believe, when we say 4 C's are the competencies of the future, and we focus a lot, and I've seen that in many education programs, but we are not trying to get students to become intelligent and smart. We want them to be wise, and we need to have them care about others and share the empathy and the pain of others, and that's the aim of education in my view. Education is not to just train students to do well on math and science. Sometimes it can be dangerous when you are training someone to be really intelligent and smart without heart. So that's why 6 C's is going to be a very important topic. The rest of the things that I will touch upon is this hyper self-regulation. We know that self-regulative skills are very important, but at the same time, someone says, how the AI will affect students' learning and their own metacognitive skill sets, etc. And what I say, if you're not self-regulated person, it doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter what kind of AI you have. You are not going to be successful. But if you are, if you have self-regulation skill sets, and if you leverage AI, then you will be able to come up with various types of competencies encompassing the abilities and capacities to make a difference in the world. And not only on your world, but also for others as well. So self-regulation is a critical component in the ecosystem, especially in the age of AI. So to me, I've done some studies around the impact of AI in the education ecosystem, and my conclusion is that AI is still in its embryonic stage. It's a very nascent stage. We're just scratching the surface of it. We have seen how internet has grown from the very early stage to today. It has skyrocketed in terms of the use and the penetration, especially in the developing countries as well. Same thing with the mobile technology. Smartphones like iPhone came out in 2007. Now we're living in 2024. Even if you go to places in the developing regions, in Africa, India, and Latin America, and some of the rural villages, they have a phone. They can do Facebook and and Instagram and things like that. And in fact, I do Instagram with the children living in Lebanon who are the refugees from Syria. And I do Instagram with them. And this is kind of a different use of technology. I mean, this type of thing wasn't possible decades ago, but now this connection, the connectivity, it is amazing. The same thing will be happening with AI as well. The industry projects that the growth of AI will be just like the growth of a mobile phone. So imagine what we will be using 10 years from now on. It's mind-blowing. In 2015, this is the prediction that I had about AI in education. I was giving a talk at a university in 2015, and I said the AI will be used to help in the formative and summative assessment and predictive analytics and counseling. AI will be helping with the game-based learning, intelligent reporting, and real-time dashboard services. And AI will be helping with intelligent teaching assistant and personal tutor, etc. So these are the kind of things that I talked about. And then people really thought, ChatGPT wasn't there at that time. So they thought, okay, all right, well, we'll see what happens. But now there's so many apps and solutions that are touching various aspects of the education ecosystem. As something that will help with interaction, that will serve as an assistant, brainstorming partner, and coaching and tutoring and counseling. And there's so many things that are happening in the education system with these different topics. Major solutions that we all know of, like ChatGPT, DALL-E, the OpenAI Codex, and Facebook Midjourney, Microsoft Copilot, Stable Diffusion, and Gemini, and things like that. Actually, there's a list of all these new tools, the major ones and the minor ones, all in the website futuretools.io. Probably you heard, if you're in the education space, you probably heard about this solution called the Merlin Mind. How many of you have used Merlin Mind? One so far. How did you like it? Okay. Using it. Yeah. This is like your personal TA already. As a teacher, you could use the Merlin Mind, and then you basically you have a very affordable TA for you in your classroom. This solution can do many things for you. In higher education, same thing is coming down the pipe as well. Kamigo, how many of you use Kamigo? Do you know any students who are using Kamigo? Yeah. This, the design that the approach that they took is not to give students answers, but to give them guidance and coaching so that they can get the answers by themselves. So same concept with a checkmate. Anyone familiar with a checkmate solution? So same thing. So we thought that, oh, check, you just type in your question, it will give you an answer, right? But the way that they redesigned everything with AI is that it does not give you the answer. It gives you step-by-step procedures, explanations, and coaching so that it can help you get to the answer. So that's the sort of the approach. It's personalized and then more coaching based, not direct instructions. So McKinsey says that 42% of the K-12 students use Gen AI tools in schools today. 63% of the KI teachers use ChatGPT to enrich learning. 49% of higher education students regularly use Gen AI. And 75% of faculty who use Gen AI believes that the students will need to know. Students will need to know how to effectively use Gen AI to succeed professionally. So in my own class, I do not mind when students are using Gen AI to produce any whatever the materials that they need to produce. I just tell them that you can just disclose whether you use it or not. But I do not stop them from using Gen AI tools to do their assignments and design their products and so forth. Some faculty members said that, oh, the students may use this as a cheating tools. And what I tell the professors is that don't give them assignments that are cheatable. Simple as that. And Gen AI case, there are many different uses. So for example, when you're preparing your lessons, you can use the Gen AI as your co-pilot. So obviously the co-pilot has that functionality already. And then we have developed a chatbot for our class, basically. So you could develop your own TA bot for your class, which answers student questions at midnight, 4 p.m., 4 a.m., doesn't matter what time. The students go in there and then they ask all kinds of questions and they get pretty good answers. And the way that we design our bots for our classes are in that we feed our documents of the concepts and models and principles of design thinking, and then we create this bot for students to access anytime and ask questions. And the students are pretty happy with our class bot. And so I think all of you can create your own bot today. When you go home, you create your own classroom bot for your to become your TA and be able to engage students. And all the questions that students type it in are recorded. So it will get, you can use that data to refine your bot over time. So the more students use it with more questions, your bot gets better and better. And so that is the concept, and it's available already. So a lot of school districts have come to me and asked me about, how about the essays? How do you get the AI to evaluate essays? And there are multiple companies already that are doing a fabulous job in terms of evaluating essays and in open-ended questions and things like that. So it's not a problem at all. So people used to think that, it's very difficult to evaluate student essays or the short writings and things like that. But there are many tools available for you already. AI obviously can do many research for you as an assistant, as a brainstorming partner. In fact, I do use Gen AI tools of various kinds. I ask and I like to make a list of certain resources, then it does that for me, and it saves a lot of time. So I think there are so many opportunities in higher education as well. And the Merlin Mind platform that I touched upon just a few minutes ago, it uses its own language models. And therefore, that means that you can fine-tune it to meet the needs of your specific course as well. And then it means that your TA will understand what you mean when you are asking questions, when you are requesting certain things. It will understand better as you use it more and more. But what the common issue at the point is that about less than 3% it hallucinates. You probably have experience with the ChatGPT, right? Sometimes it gives you false, inaccurate information and things like that. And what they found was that it does that, but at less than 3%. Now, is that a significant number? I'm not sure. Maybe it needs to be 100% accurate all the time before we can actually implement it in the education space. Some people may say that. In my opinion, I think less than 3%, that means it's still pretty good and useful to use. I'm sure that error rates will be coming down as you feed more information to it and be able to enhance your own bots. I wish I could demonstrate my bot that we built for our class, but I'll probably leave a link for you to test it. In 2017, I predicted that there will be a tutor with your choice of a voice and look. So for example, if I want Mr. President to be my a coach, I can have sample of his voice sample of his face picture, then I can have him as my coach. I just need to feed my bot with his previous publications and his previous writings and things like that. Then this virtual president will be able to give me a great coaching. So that's what I predicted, that this is coming very quickly in 2017. And also in 2022, when I was giving a talk in Korea, I said that you will have your own bot at your homepage. So if you have your office page, then there will be a you with your face, your voice, bot, which is very easy to make these days, and then be able to answer all the questions that students may ask. And sometimes they are much nicer. They don't get tired. They're always kind in the middle of the night, 3 a.m., no problem. And now with the tools like Synthesia, and then there are many other tools that are making it a very, very powerful virtual person for you. And recent announcement by OpenAI, like a Sora, that can generate all kinds of videos with the text. Creating videos, real high quality videos with a text is real. And now we see that teachers are creating educational videos by text, just typing. Give me an example of a photosynthesis with some plants, then it will generate the videos for you, very high quality videos by just typing a text. And so it means that, whether the topic is social science, language, or any other disciplines, it's easy to create many kinds of high quality videos by text. And obviously there's a limitation with generative AI, as we know, since the generative AI is based on a predictive model. And if I type, what are the work of Paul Kim at Stanford, and then it kind of gives, the ChatGPT gives you the sort of the spill on what I have done. And some of them are accurate, mostly accurate. But if I put a fake name with a fake university, and it creates a report on this person that doesn't exist, and at the university that doesn't exist. So GPT creates things that are not accurate. So what does that mean for us as an educator? We have to tell students to use multiple Gen AI tools to come to your own conclusion. Do not depend on one AI solution. And if you ask the same question at Gemini, then it says that person does not exist. So at least that's accurate. So that is the meta AI competency that I'm talking about. And Noam Chomsky said that this is just a high-tech plagiarism and a way of avoiding learning. He may be right. But I think that the rate of advancement with AI today, it is becoming an amazing tool that we just cannot ignore. There are some also ethical issues as well, and therefore AI literacy really matters in the future classrooms. We have to have students understand what the limitations are, what the potentials are, what the strengths are, what the weaknesses are. We want these children to learn those things so that they can come up with their own conclusion. Because some of the AI tools are biased based on how you feed the data model. And for example, the Amazon, they try to recruit people using AI tools to review the resumes and things like that, and they found some biases as well. And under the name of this counter-insurgency and counter-terrorism operations Department of Defense in the U.S., they try to use AI to make a surveillance programs and things like that. And when entities like that make AI their tool to have a surveillance program, it can have a detrimental effect on society as well. I'm aware that in China, they have a much more sophisticated surveillance program with a facial recognition and biometrics as well. I don't know if I would want to live in such a society. So when we educate our children, we have to really let them know what it means to be employing some of these AI tools in various purposes. And deepfake is real as well. It's so easy to create these images and then videos, even very realistic videos with various propaganda. And then when it falls in the hands of people who are not in our side, probably it can do a lot of damage to our society. So these are the kinds of things that we must address in classrooms and have students recognize these. And that's why the meta AI competency is an important element in future schools. There are many ways to create learning opportunities for students. Typically, the kind of assignments that I would give students are like, identify issues and discrepancies of the AI that you just used and report it. Right? So not just writing an essay about a topic, but when you write the topic, use AI and see what the discrepancies are and what did you find and what are the issues that you identified. Report them as well. So that's one way that we've been encouraging our students to use AI. And also explain the thought process. How did you arrive to the conclusion? And what sort of tools did you use and resources, and cite them as well. And also compare and improve. Use multiple AI tools and compare the results and try to come up with a better assessment of the topics that you covered. And then foster creativity. A few months ago, I was asking ChatGPT to program something for me, and I wanted to deploy an educational game. And basically, I asked ChatGPT, hey, give me the set of codes that uses the NoSQL database with Python as the programming language, and then Replit was the design framework. And then the ChatGPT gave me the set of all the codes that would take me a week. And it did it in a matter of a minute. And then I just copy paste and launch the app in a matter of minutes. And so I think these are the kinds of things that are possible today, and making a very, very different sort of a level of efficacy and effectiveness in the industry. And also, when we ask our students to design products or come up with classroom products, we ask them to come up with various hypothetical questions, and using AI as a brainstorming partner, right? So, for example, when my students were designing a solution for a school district in California, they came up with a tool that will help remind parents about their children's activities at school. And they were designing it with AI tools. And then I asked the students, hey, why don't you use the AI as a brainstorming partner and throw in some hypothetical questions and see if AI is suggesting you a sort of a new ways of designing or enhancing your design as well. And the students were able to throw in some hypothetical questions to come up with better designs. And that's a very typical process. We've been hearing about this that a lot. 65% of the children entering primary school today will ultimately end up working in completely new job types that don't exist yet. And then how do we get them to be developing competencies that are adequate for future societies? It's a big concern for us. And some of the integration strategies that I have been involving in classrooms like this. We can do more design-based. We can do more project-based, team-based, experimental learning models, and have students ask and document questions and designs at different stages of learning. So we're not doing any just writing essays or taking exams as an assessment strategy. We're not doing that at all. We always involve students in hands-on, team-based learning programs as appropriate. And 6 C's. In the age of artificial intelligence, this is the sort of from my own personal projects. Why do I think that the 6 C's are important? Our dean at the Graduate School of Business said that students of today who are coming to Stanford are not just interested in getting the degree at the end of the program. They want to make a difference in the world. And that motivates our students to be more aware of the needs of our society. So they are not just trying to gain the knowledge and the degree at the end of the program, but they want to make a difference. And therefore, as we all know, that Bloom's taxonomy has defined, what types of learning activities are appropriate, and then this hasn't changed for decades and decades. We want students to be creating, evaluating, analyzing, and applying their knowledge in real-world context. As an example, ammonium nitrate. This could be used in two different ways. It could be used as a fertilizer, or it could be used to make bombs. Depending on what your children are learning the knowledge for, I believe that it is important to get the students to be aware of the social needs and then be able to engage in activities that are to make this world a better place for all. And for that, I've been doing various projects that are centered around student entrepreneurs for social impact. And that tends to make a better impact on student learning. Instead of just having students work on science projects, math projects, solving problems, we ask them to design things. How about designing 3D printed hands for those children who were born with a defective form of hands? And when students engage in these types of projects, they get much more motivated. And this particular project turned into an organization that created lots and lots of these 3D printed hands for children around the world. This is another project that I've seen in one of the schools in Silicon Valley. This is a 5th grade classroom. Students are performing a laparoscopic procedure to remove the blood clot from heart. They created a 3D printed heart, of human heart, and then they implanted in that a little robot, and they are simulating this surgery. This is a 5th grade class. I don't know what I was doing in 5th grade. Probably not like this. I don't know about your classes in 5th grade. So when I was watching them doing this, all of a sudden the monitor turned off, and I thought in my mind, like, wow, now that's great. Let's see if they can fix that. And then students were rebooting the Raspberry Pi server that's implanted in the robot, and they were able to get the screen back online and continue to perform the surgery demonstration. And I figured, okay, they did this by themselves, not by their parents or teachers. So I asked them, why did you do this? And they said, my grandpa died of heart failure, and that sort of was lingering in his heart. And then he thought that I would like to create this simulation so that more students can understand what this means. And maybe some of them will turn into healthcare services in the future. So projects like that are now becoming more common in some of these leading schools. And I like to see classes like this everywhere. Why not having this holistic approach? In this way, you are not only learning about coding, but science and then technology, engineering, and the compassion, and all these things all together. How many of you are familiar with Manu Prakash? Manu Prakash? Some of you know? He's the kind of kid who used to develop this paper folding things. So he was good at making this paper-based folding craft. And that's how he grew up. And then he saw many different places in India where clinics didn't have microscope. And he thought, why don't they have microscope? So he made this $1 paper-based microscope. And also, he saw that many clinics didn't have the blood separator, the blood separation, the machine. That this machine has to spin 40,000 rounds per minute or something like that to separate the blood. And then he thought that maybe I can make this with 50 cents material. So he came up with this spinning handle that will spin more than 40,000 rounds per minute. And so he's the man who saw the needs in his own community, and he came up with these inventions. And now, do you know where he is? He's a professor at Stanford University Engineering School. That's what he does. He continues to develop these kind of little toys, but they make a significant difference in the world. And he has a lot of students in his class. He has a long wait list for his classes. Students want to take a class like that. They want to make a difference. And that's why I think that the 6 C's become very important in the education ecosystem. The way that these young children become an engineer and professor and then an innovator is they make a deep observation. They watch things and see where the needs are, where the problems are, and then they come up with endless hypothetical questions. What if I do this? What if I made this? And so forth. They make a lot of these hypothetical questions. And to me, making a critical and creative question is an important competency in the age of AI. AI would have a lot of answers, but not necessarily be making creative, critical questions for you. That's something you have to do, and that's why I believe that we have to help students develop the competency of creating quality questions. And if we have that such an ecosystem where there is the pedagogy, the content and technology, where it's evolving with technology, I think that we may be able to create an education ecosystem, something like this. Students who are doing their projects with that passion, and in the ecosystem, they end up with a lot of great entrepreneurial ideas. And then some of the students came up with solutions like this. HaloFi is one of the projects that came out of student projects. They teach AI to young children starting from first grade to design solutions that can help meet some of the SDGs, the 16, 17 SDGs the UN has defined. And so this is what they do. They come up with design, and then they incorporate some of the materials. Some of them could be technology, some of them could be paper boxes and things like that, and they incorporate AI models. But when they were designing these inventions, they came up with lots of hypothetical questions that start with. And that's why we emphasize the need of helping students come up with a lot of design thinking questions in the beginning. And someone said that best humans still outperform artificial intelligence in a creative, divergent thinking task. And based on this premise, I developed a series of cognition games where students, I leave the slides with you so that you can go into this page and then try out some of these games, up and down games, or 2 words games, or getting your questions evaluated by AI. All these are running with AI, Gen AI in the background, having students come up with a logical thinking and connecting different words in different domains. By having students practice these games, they come to generate more creative questions. And that is the competency that I would love to have students develop. And there was someone who published the book, The Art of Asking ChatGPT for high quality answers, right? So we already know that prompt engineering is already a huge keyword in the industry as well. And then there are many pioneers in the past who put a lot of emphasis on questioning skills. And then here is what I'm wanting to say. In the age of AI, you must be able to ask a foundational question. Foundational question, not the kind of questions that you can easily find in Google's, but ask questions no one has asked. And that becomes the basis for your design. So one of the projects I have done is called the SMILE, Stanford Mobile Inquiry-Based Learning Environment. I developed this 10 years ago. I recognized the importance of asking questions, and I wanted to give a tool to students to come up with a variety of different critical and creative questions. And then it has evolved, and then it integrated various types of AI solutions. It evaluates your questions in terms of the Bloom's taxonomy, and also it has various functions that lead students to link various types of keywords from different domains as well that will help them practice some of the creativity exercises. And also when they read an article like this, the way that we evaluate student learning from this is that they come up with the critical creative questions, and the AI will evaluate your critical creative questions and be able to tell students how they are doing, what they are learning and how they are learning. And I implemented this project in various parts of the world. For example, this is a set of questions that I received from Ethiopia. In the early part of this project in Ethiopia, students were asking the typical memory questions. You know, when was Ethiopia invaded by fascist Italy and things like that, you know, and then list the events in the order they took place and things like that. But after 6 months of the exercises, they started to ask more profound questions. Fifth grade, a girl came up with this question: does our Constitution protect women's rights? Questions that they didn't feel comfortable asking. Now they're asking these important questions. And my hope is that these students grow up with these critical, creative questions that can not only change their lives, but also their communities and their country's future. And so we employed some of these tools. Ask Smile is a tool that we've been using. And students ask a lot of questions in the system, in the platform, in Smile. And when they are beginning to design their solution, they come up with a series of questions, they discuss them, and see which one is a foundational question, and they apply to their design. This is a scene from Malaysia where teachers are getting the training with this AI tool, where they're asking a series of questions and debating on them. This is the screenshot of the Smile Ask. If you look at the first question, what are the salt crystals? The AI would say, hey, that's an interesting question, but that's a level 1 question. Do you want to try again and see if you can make a level 5 question? And then they continue to ask questions, and they end up with questions like, how does the variety of salt influence surface tension and its role as a mordant in the effectiveness of fabric dyeing? This is a question from a freshman high school student. So when they ask these creative questions that is foundational, meaning that the question was not found in Google search, they conduct their own experiment based on their question. So this particular group of students wanted to see how the salinity and the different types of salt would affect the surface tension and its effectiveness of dyeing fabric as a mordant. And they came up with a report. And this is a science class. This is a science class today. We used to have a science textbook where students are following the order of experiments. 1, do this, 2, you pour a little bit of the liquid in the beaker. 3, you warm it up, and you follow the sequence, and then write the results in the table, and then your experiment is successful. That used to be the typical science class. Now this science class is different. We're asking students to come up with creative questions that are foundational, and then have them experiment based on their questions that no one has asked before, and come up with their own reports with their own collection of data set. They take pictures of from their microscope, and then fill out their forms and be able to come up with their own report. And this particular class was able to apply to OpenAI award program, and then they won the first round. So they are now in the second round of competition as well. So I think education is changing, certainly, in many ways. And then AI is providing many kinds of resources and also coaching service. And having students come up with the critical, creative questions. It's something that you can do in any class, not just the science, but engineering, technology, design, a variety of different classes. And when we announced this tool, the Smile Ask question evaluator, we were able to collect over 2,600 questions from students, and we wanted to see if their questions evolve over time. You know, they start with a level 1 question, and then they try it again. They go to level 2. They try again, level 3, and eventually level 5, which is a foundational question. And I wanted to know if that's a significant improvement from their very first question to the later question. And then it turns out to be statistically significant. So I'm in the process of writing paper on that as well. So what I can say is that AI Coach is very helpful. It does help students come up with more critical and creative questions. Another tool that I have developed is coaching system. And then our students are now refining over time. But basically what this is, students are typing in their what they're interested in, what they like to do, what they don't like to do, what subjects they like, or things that they are not good at, what they can do without getting bored, and things like that. When they type in these elements, it gives you a very personalized coaching advice on their future careers. It gives the realistic one and ideal one as well, so that you can choose. And this is at the very beginning stage, but something like that would be helpful in counseling and be able to help students to find the best career track. And so since I get a lot of requests from students, I always tell them, hey, why don't you fill this out first before you see me? And then they fill it out, they print out the results, and then I look at the results, and then I advise our students when they have a lot of career questions. So these counseling tools are very easy to build today. And I think that in every aspect of education, administration, organization, and teaching, and counseling, and various aspects in the education ecosystem, these AI tools would be very, very valuable. Obviously, I tell my students, hey, if you're designing these tools, what are the things that you're trying to change? Is that the student behavior? Is that the attitude? Or is that the cognition development? Or is that the perception, etc.? So always make sure that students are touching upon all these elements when they are designing an AI solution, so that they are not doing any harm to students, but at the same time, they are seeking development opportunities by leveraging these AI tools. So hopefully these are sort of the points that I wanted to share, and then get your feedback and see if there's any ideas of collaboration, or maybe something we can build together. We can develop a new coach, or new TA, or new grading systems, or any kinds of tools in all aspects of education ecosystem. I just wanted to open up the conversation. So thank you.
So, Dr. Kim, thank you so much for your talk and so many fascinating aspects. Thank you so much. At this point, we'd like to open it up to a little bit of Q&A and answer Dr. Kim's question for us.
So the biggest question that I have for you is, what's the future of learning at the university? When we consider what you just presented right now, and we consider that fundamentally speaking, AI is useful to us when you ask foundational questions, and I completely agree with you. That's where the creativity intersection is between my own history, my own cultural background, and then how I interpret reality, and then what I want to know as a person moving forward. That would be foundational to me. So if I look at institutions across the US, actually across the world, I will say that most institutions are teaching in the general education, the first 2 years of a student's career, stuff that can be found on Google. So if that is the case, and then we specialize as juniors and seniors in something even greater with greater technical thinking skills, we at the university perceive that the first 2 years are foundational because we want to get them to think more critically as juniors and seniors. When they graduate, we hope that they're graduating with critical thinking skills that are holistic in their approach, meaning they will have general background where they will be able to make connections between various disciplines, and then within their own discipline, they will be able to say, I'm informed by philosophy, art, I'm informed by astronomy, I'm informed by all of these disciplines, and I'm going to then make a foundational question or a foundational interpretation of the world, right? If that is the case, then what is the future of learning at universities across the world? Because universities across the world, here at Fresno State, what I've noticed when foreign students come to us and they learn from our professors, they're completely stunned at the fact that our professors, when asked the question, our professors are there willing to help them, like literally willing to help them, right? I studied in Portugal and France as well. When I would ask a question sometimes, I would be ridiculed because I was asking the question. You know, you're supposed to know that. Didn't you know that? Didn't they teach you that in the first year of the first year of college, right? So the difference is dramatic, right? So how do we envision what is the future of learning at institutions of higher education across the world as you see it?
Thank you.
Sorry for that long-winded question.
I think I got it. Creating a culture of inquiry is not an easy thing. And as I was growing up in Korea, I did all 12 years in Korea. And if I ask a question, I usually get spanked for asking a dumb question. And my friends were looking at me and like, why are you asking the question? We want to end the class as quickly as possible. You're just lengthening the class time. So there was no culture of inquiry. Now, a company like Google, they developed a system called, you guys have seen the movie, the Finding Nemo? And then the blue fish name? Dory. That's the name of the system they came up with. So that anyone in the company can ask as many questions as they want, and it's okay to forget and ask again and again and again. And they created the system so that everybody in Google can ask questions, and then they evaluate each other's question. And then the question gets bubbled up to the top, the CEO responds to that question. That's an amazing culture of inquiry. When I was doing a Smile workshop with companies from Asia, they said, oh, I have a lot of questions to ask. I want to ask these questions, but I don't want my name to be next to the question. They were so afraid. I think the fear is still here, that people are afraid of asking questions, especially the most creative ones, because some people may think it's dumb. So creating and culturing that kind of a culture of inquiry is a basic sort of the foundation in an organization, especially in higher organization. We have to create a safe environment for people to feel comfortable asking innovative, wild questions. So that's one thing that I think is very important. Also, universities must evolve with as technology evolves. I think it's not about teaching, because teaching can be done in many ways, especially displaying and presenting information can be done. And I think we know the answer where things are going. But coaching is different. Helping students become wiser is different. And that, therefore, I believe that universities must create a culture of coaching, meaning that you need to know your students much more deeply, their strengths, weaknesses, their likes and dislikes, and what they might be good at, and all these things. So teacher and coach is a very different thing. The coach needs to understand in and out and a lot of things about the student. so that they can personalize and cater the education experiences for them. So I think the university must create a culture of coaching. And at the same time, entrepreneurship, I mentioned briefly about that. It's important to have the culture of entrepreneurship as well. Entrepreneurship is not just for business people, but for everybody. A way to innovate, a way to make a difference. I think it has to be engraved in every aspect of education curriculum. Because we don't know how the future society will be like. We don't know what kind of jobs may come down the pipe. We know for sure more than half of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next decade or so. So how do we prepare our students to be ready for the future? And that's why I believe that the importance of the competencies, like 6 C's, 4 C's plus compassion and commitment to collaborate and make this place a better place for all. I think that is a very important premise in the education ecosystem. And I hope that that translates down into the curriculum and learning objectives of all classrooms. So I think these are the sort of pillars for transforming higher education in the next few years. Question from back there?
So my question is, in your work, have you come across organizations or institutions that have like a high rate of technophobia, like a fear of technology or an avoidance of technology, and how does the introduction to AI either aid in that or kind of confirm that bias of not wanting to learn or progress with technology?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. We give all kinds of workshops on AI currently. We give a workshop on AI just about every week and for targeting different groups of people on campus. And then we started with a survey. How do you feel about AI in general? Do you have fear? Do you think it will replace your job, or do you think it's going to change your life drastically, and so forth? So we ask all kinds of questions, and then we cater various types of workshops for our faculty and staff and students. And then the way that we do is we pick, obviously, the champions who love the AI and then the technology, to come up with some of the workshop activities. But at the same time, we work with the people who are, you could think that the least interested in AI or the technology changes. We work with those people and have them present to their peers. And when those people present to the peers, hey, even I do this, that has a tremendous impact on others. I thought she never liked these things. Now she's a champion. So we focus on those people who are least likely to be using some of these advanced tools and help them become champions. And then we have them spread the words and then transform their practices. And so that's the strategy we use. And then when I give workshops in developing regions, we always train teachers and have the teachers deliver the workshops while we are watching them, and then have them influence their peers. Peer influence is much more powerful. Any other question? Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. Can everyone hear me? Okay. You're speaking to my heart. This is stuff I love. And I am a big gamer. I love to play games in my class. Students are always very disappointed to know that when they win the game, they don't necessarily get an A in the class. It's based on other things. It's very difficult to move students away from this very performance-based grading. And faculty also are very reluctant to move away. Like, I need to know how to grade the student, because that at the end of the term, that's what I need to do. So how do you transform that mindset and that culture away from performance-based to progress and improvement and risk-taking? And then how do you assign a grade to that so that they can go to med school, because that's really what they want to do? So that's sort of my question. I hope that makes sense.
That's a very difficult question to answer. If their goal is to go to medical school, they probably need to study their MCAT day and night, right? It doesn't matter what they do in classrooms if they don't score really well on some of those required exams, right? So how do we really help them with assessment? At least what I've seen in Korea right now, there's a strike. Doctors are on a strike. They are saying that, oh, we don't want more doctors. The government is trying to get more doctors because the society knows that we do not have enough doctors. And so the government tried to, hey, we need to admit more students to become doctors. And then there's a strike. They're saying that, oh, then our value goes down. So what is it? The society needs more doctors, yet the doctors are not interested in having more doctors. So it's a very controversial issue right now. If you go to hospital, if you see a doctor in Korea, the doctors don't even look at your face. They spend 30 seconds to diagnose you. They say, what's your name? What's the pain? Okay, take this medicine, go home. 30 seconds, done. And because they see 200 patients a day. I don't know if that is the right kind of a healthcare system we're looking at. If we are producing doctors without compassion, without knowing the real sense of pain of somebody, and you don't really have heart for them, I don't know if you need to be in that business. And so that's why I believe that even medical school, they need to have curriculum with 6 C's. And we do at Stanford the global education program where these students have to spend some time in the developing region helping the patients and come back with the mindset that they really need to feel the pain of the patients in order to become a real good doctor, not just smart, intelligent, who can do exams really well. So I think that's the sort of the premise, and therefore I cannot change the MCAT system or anything like that, but at least we can have the students to have 6 C's when they go out to see their patients. Yes.
We'll take one more question. Yeah.
Dr. Kim, I have the privilege of working alongside our Learning Center here on campus, and within this department we have tutoring and supplemental instruction and also academic success coaching, and a lot of our approaches to pedagogy and learning are very much aligned with what you're speaking of. So we do promote active learning and Bloom's taxonomy, and we really do take an approach of coaching and helping students receive knowledge rather than simply giving the information to them. But what we've noticed is many students become frustrated with that process, and they simply want answers. So even though we have about 150 student employees that work within our department, and they're trained very, very well to ensure that students go through this very healthy process of attaining knowledge, what would you recommend for us to inspire students to go through that process of learning and really inquiry-based learning rather than seeking responses and answers?
Yeah, that's a very good question as well. One of our student teams is designing a solution for student advisement and counseling as well. And then when they were interviewing the counselors, they said, "Oh, our ratio 1 to 200 the students per counselor and student advisement." So they said we need to hire more people. Basically, that was their request. We just need to have more people so that less number of students are assigned to each counselor to help students. And then, so I advised the team, hey, that's one way to do it, but here's another way to do it. Why don't you use AI that can do a lot of time saving? Like initial assessment could be done before they come to knock on the door of the counselor, right? So that the counselor would have all the results in place before they start counseling them in person. And also, the difference between the AI, the tool, versus the human being is that the AI tool will not forget your question, your inquiry, your comments that the student made 2 months ago in a Friday afternoon. as a human, we'll forget. But this system approach, I think, obviously I am more tech, evangelist. So I think in that direction. But there are so many ways to save time for the counselors and student advisors. And then there are so many ways to keep the records of all the interactions in there so that whoever is counseling the student is always ready to have these records of all the interactions. And I think that the system that we have built, the bot that we have built, we have the principles in place. Show empathy. Every single comment you make, show empathy and provide constructive feedback. And we put that in the principle when we are designing these AI bots. And so I think if you are integrating some of these tools, I think it can save a lot of time and make sure that they are always available and show empathy. And then it keeps all the records of interactions. These are not like the one you see at the United.com, where you're trying to book a flight and change something, and you see a little bot that never answer any of your questions. And it's not like that. These are different. So, don't expect your bot today would be like your United.com bot. So the technology has advanced a lot, and I would love to share some of the bots that we developed this quarter, and then try it out and see what you think. I think to me, when I was using the bot, I thought that this is way better than me, actually. It was much better in many ways. So one of our professors said that, wow, these things are way better than professors. Now what do we do? That was the comment from one of our professors.
Thank you so much. Let's give Dr. Kim a hand. Thank you.
Thank you, and I would love to connect with you. Here's my email. If any of the points that I made it was useful, please contact me, and so that we can explore and collaborate. Thank you.